Well, guys, this is what I've been contending with for the past 2 weeks. Water, 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 and water. Nobody's wanting to get out. Except for the ducks, of course. They're happy to be out. But it's rained for 2 weeks. I noticed some blight on my tomatoes yesterday. I've been trying to keep them up off the ground, but some of them's growing short, so it is what it is, I guess. Anyway, that's my world lately. I'm making some sweet relish, guys, that I have to make at least 2 recipes of a year. Sometimes more, just depends. I use my sweet relish a lot for potato salad, chicken salad. We eat it with our soup, beans, cornbread. Just a lot of different things that you would use relish for. Hot dogs, if people, we don't normally use them with hot dogs, but sometimes we have people that eat with us that do. But anyway, I've cut up 8 cucumbers so far and 4 green peppers. You can also add a red pepper if you'd like to this, because it will give it a little color. If I've got one, I do. If I don't, I don't. I'm going to mix this up, and then I'm going to add about, let's see, I want to tell you all, 3 cups of onions and 3 cups of celery to this as well, and it's all going in here. I've already got my cucumbers in here, and this darker is my peppers, and this is the last of my peppers. But anyway, let me get this mixed and we'll start again. Alright guys, so as I said, I'm doubling this recipe, but normally it would be 3 cups of celery, and I'm just rough chopping this, as you can tell, into this food processor. Get these last ones in here. And I just pulse it, that way I can get it the consistency I want it. My husband likes it really fine. I like it a little chunky, so I go kind of in between on it to satisfy both of us. But I will show you how to pulse this one. And I just go in here ever so often and push this stuff down. That's it. And 3 cups, which this is a 4-cup holder here, but I'm doing 6, which this is going to be a little less than 6 too, but that's alright. It's kind of forgiving, so if your measurements aren't extremely precise, don't stress over it. It ain't that big a deal. It looks like I got 5 cups instead of 6. If you think it's a whole lot less, just add a little less sugar than what it calls for is the main thing with it. Okay, now I'm going to work on my onions, and I'll get back with you again here in a few. Okay guys, there's all my veggies that I've got put in there. I'm actually going to divide this out into these 2 bowls. But right now I am going to clean out, these are actually the ones I used whenever I done my maple syrup, which I've already cleaned them once, but I'm going to clean them out again here so that I can mix my stuff in this first, sanitizing it there, and get it mixed good before I divide it out into those bowls. I don't like to leave it in plastic just because I know the salt, because I'm going to be putting salt all over it. I know that will pull out of that plastic, and I don't like to do that if I can help it at all. So that's why I'm going to put it in that. There's all the cucumbers I still have. I didn't raise these cucumbers. A friend of ours that works in a community garden that our local inmates and stuff work in, and he gave us a bunch of cucumbers. I ended up having to buy peppers, because normally I don't do this till my cucumbers and peppers are in, but since I got so many, I got to do something, you know. And I've already cut up what I need. I've still got that many more, so I've got to give some to some people. But anyway, I had to buy celery because I don't never raise celery anyway. Normally I wait till my peppers come in, and so, but this time I didn't, so I had to buy my peppers. But it'll still be good. But my chickens will have a good little snack too. This has got my pepper scraps in it and my cucumber scraps and celery stalks and all that kind of good stuff. So it'll be good. But let me get this rinsed out and everything, and we'll get on with it. Okay, guys. I've got all my vegetables in here, and I've put a quarter, well, the recipe calls for a quarter cup, which I'm doubling it, so I'm making a half a cup of salt. You can use Himalayan sea salt, or you can use iodized salt, either one. I have used both, so just use whichever one. And then I'm going to pour this in here, these two things, because I don't want to leave it in the plastic to and what this does is pull the juices out of these vegetables, so that whenever you go to, they might all fit in there again. Yep, they're all going to fit in there. Whenever you go to can them, you don't just have so much juice and not as much vegetables. Yeah, that all fit in there. See how much that reduced already? It was heaped up there a while ago, but just from putting that salt in there, it's already reduced that much. So I'm going to cover this lightly with I don't want to set that down there. Well, that'll be fine. That ain't going to fit. With a dish towel. I got to get one. Leave it set for 4 hours, and then we'll come back and we'll strain this out, and I'll show you the next process. Hey guys, I thought I'd show you something else I'm going to do with some of these extra cucumbers here. I actually meant to show you this when I done my relish. A lot of times, guys, when you get cucumbers, which these ain't too bad as you can tell, but sometimes you get some that's overgrown and they got too many seeds in them. I take a I usually use with my relish, which is what I did. I used all the big fat ones with my relish because I can scoop that out and still got plenty of meat. But here I'm going to make some fermented dills, and I do my fermented dills different just depending on what I've got available at the time and what I want to throw in them. With these here, I don't have my dill. So these are, what I'm going to do with these is I'm cutting them in, as you can see, just slices like that. And I'm going to take garlic. That right there is a good way, guys, to clean, get your skin off your garlic if you ever had trouble getting garlic. And I'm going to do just a rough chop on the garlic. And I'll probably put a couple cloves in each jar. That's what I'm probably going to do. And then I normally would put dill in it too. With the garlic, I would put the dill. But since I don't have no fresh dill right now, I'm going to do it like I do my okra. And I'm going to use some of my Cayenne. This was year before last Cayenne. And I just put it in my coffee grinder. And I'll probably put, I don't know, I'll show you here in a minute what I'm going to put in it. And then I make a brine. And I usually start out with a cup of water, and I boil it I'm bad not to have good measurements when I do stuff. Roughly for this here, I've done 3 tablespoons. So let's say if this was a gallon's worth, because this one's a little shy of a gallon. Well, I guess you'd say a tablespoon per jar, if it was in quart jars. And melted that down, and then added cold water so it would be room temperature because you don't want it hot. And I'm going to pour that in here, but let me get this together and we'll go on from there. As I accidentally deleted a whole clip on whenever I actually poured these into the jars earlier. As what I did is that 4-cup measure that I had full of the salt water brine, I equally poured into them about half full at first, just to know how much you needed. I just filled them all half full and then equaled it out with what I had of the brine. And then I continued to fill them all the way to the brim with distilled water after that. That way they're completely full. And once again, if you've seen my kraut video, I like to fill my stuff completely up to the brim, because see, it's well covered with fluid, if you can tell. So there's no air hitting it in between, and sealing it off, well, not sealing it off, but putting my tops on it. That way I don't have to worry about the weights and stuff. But that's me. You can use your weights at this point, or a sandwich bag full of water, or just whatever you want to use. And then I'm putting them up in here in the shelf for 3 to 5 days, depending on, you can taste, that's what I usually do. I usually taste them. To be honest with you, I'll taste them tomorrow just because I can't stand the wait. So that's your jars of pickles, however you want to do them. And I put the, I don't think it was on that video either, that I put the pepper in there. See the pepper flakes? I grinded them up in the coffee grinder. I probably put maybe a half a teaspoon per quart of the pepper flakes, and a couple cloves of garlic. You don't have to use the garlic. You don't have to use the pepper flakes. You can just use the brine. You can use dill, which I usually do use dill, but I didn't on these because I didn't have any. And that's pretty much it. There's my kombucha, guys. My kombucha is doing really good. I've been so excited about it. This is my second ferment on it. So, anyway. Guys, guess what my house smells like right now? Vinegar and cucumber. I just love that smell. They should make a fragrance of vinegar and cucumber. You know what time of year it is if you walk in somebody's house and it smells like vinegar and cucumber. Because that is just an awesome smell. It actually gets me excited. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and make this brine for my relish so that y'all can see what it's going to contain. Right now, which I'm doubling the recipe, so normally you could use just a normal size stock pot, which is about half this size. But since I'm doubling the recipe, I'm using a double stock pot. So, I've already got... I want to say this. I know I said that a while ago and I've already messed up, but I'll put the recipe down here. But for a single recipe, you would put, I don't want to tell you wrong, 3½ cups of sugar. You can tweak that sugar by the ½ a cup if you want to. This is pretty sweet relish. But whenever I drain my cucumbers, my vegetables, is to rinse them off, but I don't rinse them off. I leave that salt on them because I think that salt helps make the flavor better to me. That's me. But you can drain it and wash them off if you want to, but I don't because I think the salt and the sugar kind of cuts it so it ain't so, but believe me, it'll still be super sweet. So 3½ cups on a regular recipe, and it would actually be 2 cups of vinegar, but I'm going to be using 4. White vinegar. Vinegar and cucumber. Somebody needs to invent that. I dropped my lid, but I'm about out anyway. And then it will take a tablespoon of mustard seed, which I will need 2. And I think I'm going to be shy too. I am going to be shy too. Guess what I got to do? Soon. So I'm going to heat that up and let it dissolve the sugar real good, and then we'll go from there. Also, guys, at this point, it's also a good time, while this is getting warm and your vegetables are setting, it's also a good time to get your jars ready. That single recipe takes 5 to 6 pints generally, so you can have those ready. I've got 12 going on in the dishwasher, so they'll be good and sanitized and ready here in a few moments. And I'll set me a little kettle over here to get my seals and my flats and my rings sanitized and ready as well. And we'll be on here in just a minute. Alright guys, I've strained all of my vegetables, and I'm putting them in this brine that I told you about with the 3½ cups of sugar and the 2 cups of vinegar and 1 tablespoon of mustard seed, which I have doubled this recipe though. Put them in there, bring it to a boil. Also prepare your water bath while you're waiting too. I've got my water bath sitting over here getting good and hot. I'm going to bring this to a boil. I'll get the phone and show it. Okay guys, so I got that in there. I'm going to bring that to a boil, and after it boils, turn it down to a simmer. And let it cook for 10 minutes. It will turn darker. You can kind of tell with it. And then we'll be putting in my jars. I got my jars sanitized and ready. I got my rings sanitized and ready. I'll have to sanitize my flats here in a few moments. And I've got my water ready for that. And I've got my canner getting good and hot too. You can already tell this is getting somewhat darker, but it still ain't cooked yet. I just wanted to let you know that I stir this kind of often. That way I can kind of rotate this and get this down in there, especially when you got as much going on as. Guys, I'll show you a jar or two of this anyway, because I'm trying to do this one-handed. But I'll just take it then, scoot it over to the edge as close as I can, pretty much. Leave it on low though, so that it keeps it good and warm for you. And take your ladle. Fill your jar. 1/2 inch headspace. And I'll try to equal it out with juice, because some recipes I use some of the juice as well. So I try to balance it out to where I've got part juice and part relish. And then I will move on to the next one. Scoot that booger back here. Move on to the next one. Get some juice in there. And let me get on these filled and we'll go from there. Okay guys, now I'll take a little bit of white vinegar and a paper towel and just go around my lids. I ended up getting 10 instead of 12. And that can always be different, and the reason being it depends on how much water you soaked out of it. Sometimes, you know, if you figure in, I used 2 green peppers. Sometimes your peppers are bigger than other times. There's all kinds of different things that can factor into that. But you want to be sure you wipe down your lids really good. I mean your rims. Not just the sides. Because you want that seal to get in there really good. And these are hot, so be careful. Now, I will show you. I'll take one. And I usually keep a pot holder. That's what I use. Everybody's different. I'll show you. Okay guys, I keep a pot holder with me when I do this. And I just put my lid on there. Mayonnaise lid tight, you know, and start loading your canner. And you will be in there. Now I'll process this for 10 minutes. And they'll be ready. Alright guys, I turned my stove off. It is time to get out my jaws. Let me go ahead and get this one out first. Them to the side. Now I'm actually, well, I'm just going to do it. Tilt them over to the side, guys. You get some of that water off the lids for you, so you don't get burnt if you're like me. After we get these out, we just let them sit there and they'll start sealing. You'll hear them pop, pop, pop. That awesome sound we love to hear. Pop, pop, pop. So, there's my relish, hopefully for the year. If my niece has anything to do with it, she'll have a can or two. My youngest daughter took off with a can on Father's Day that I opened up to eat with soup beans that we made. And she took off with the rest of it because I had finished a jar. But there they are, guys. And guys, generally I would save this water for a day or two to can other things, but since I'm not going, I can't do this one-handed, but since I'm not going to be able to, I will cool this off and use it on some plants. I guess I'll use it on indoor plants. Outside plants are getting plenty. There we go, guys. 10 jars of sweet relish. Thank you for watching. Give me a thumbs up if you like my video, and